Hello everyone, welcome back. As part of the today's session, we are going to study about a supplier, which is an another predefined functional interface available in a Java 8. So the ultimate objective of this functional interface is it will return something. Okay, this particular supplier will going to return something as it is a predefined functional interface. The abstract method that we have in this functional interface is a get. So let me show you more details about this one. This is a supplier. This is get something basically like I just want to get a system date. I want to get a random number. I want to get a random name. If you want to get all these things, we want to use this supplier, and we are accepting a return value from it, and we don't have any specific input data required for this. Only input that you need to pass out over here is a return type, and the method that we have here is a gets. And there are no default methods and as well as the static methods. The only abstract method that we have on this particular functional interface is a gets. And if you see the implementation, basically interface supplier R, and R is a return type of this particular gets. Perfect. So let us see these three different examples so that we can understand this concept more clearly. See here, my first example is I just want to get the current system data using this supplier. So what I'm going to do right now means let me create a new Java class here. And in this new Java class, okay, I just want to create a supplier. So whatever the content is there in a previous class, just delete it. Supplier of, and here what it needs to get the date. It's going to get the date as a return time. S is equal to, first of all, import this supplier first. I'm just importing this supplier, and of course this is the Java utils date. I'm just importing this Java utils date also. And this supplier is not having any input argument that we are passing. That's the reason I'm just passing out a blank data here. And what I want to get, I just want to get new date. So whatever the date is there, it's going to return this particular date. That's it. Perfect. And as I told you that s dot get is a method which we are going to use in order to get that particular information. So here I'm just using s dot get method. So when I run my test script, automatically the current date it's just printing down to the console. This is the way how exactly we can create a supplier. Perfect. So this is all about the example one. And the second example out over there is generate a random number. I just want to generate a random number. In order to generate a random number in Java, we have a math.random method, right? So here, supplier, and this time the outcome from this supplier is a number basically, right? So here, integer s2 is equal to, what I want to do as part of this one is I just want to generate some random logic, random number logic, right? So this supplier, so first of all, math dot random, and it's going to generate some random number, and I'm just multiplying this random number by 10. This is what I just want to return it. Okay, whatever the random number it's generating, I just want to print that a random number, and I'm converting the whole thing into an integer. That's fine. I just typecasted this one, and I'm converting into an integer. Now system.out.println s2.get. So I'm calling it for the very first time. See here, s2.get, I'm calling it for 5 different times or 6 different times. When I run my test script, okay, so here we are getting some exception. Let's see where we are getting this exception. Public static void main. Why? Let me see this exception, more details about it. Oh, there are some compilation issues here. One second. What is the issue we have? Okay, it's related to the braces. Just relate these braces. Okay, so I don't have any issues in my program. Now let me run my program. This time it's generating a number based on, okay, based on a math.random, and it is generating a random number here. So this is the second example, how exactly we can create a supplier in order to generate a random number, in order to generate a random number for this. Okay, good. So this is all about an example too. And the third example that I want to work on this supplier is I just want to print a random string basically. Okay, so how exactly this random string is going to print? Okay, so let me create a supplier, and this time it's going to print a string on a random fashion. So I have a given string, and now in this particular supplier, what I want to do is random string. How I need to generate is I'm going to pass my set of strings here. String names is equal to, let me pass my names here. Surendra 1. Right. So I'm just passing multiple sets of data 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. So here, let me change this one to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. And I'm just creating my array basically 4, 2, and a 3. So I have created my random number. That's it. I just created my strings here, first of all, 1 to 10. So what I'm doing right now is, so in order to get one value from the string, directly I can use the names of I. Right. So return names of I. If I can pass this I value, that is a random number, automatically it's going to pick one value randomly from this. So I have already used a random number logic earlier. So int I is equal to the random number generation, and I'm just using I here. So whenever we use a math.random of multiplied by 10, it's going to get all the values in between 0 to 9. The reason is, the okay, the reason out over here is basically the minimum value that we can get from this number is 0, and the maximum value that we can get is a 0.9. And whenever we are multiplying by 10 and typecasting it by an integer, so definitely it's going to fall in between 0 to 9 itself. That's fine. And now here, what I'm going to do now means system.out.println s3.get. See here, I'm just using an s3.get. So this s3.get, I'm placing it for three different times or five different times. And now when I run my test script, randomly the string is being picked. See, one time it's 8, 6, 5. If you call a multiple times, dynamically it's going to print this information. Perfect. Done the deal. This is all about a supplier. Usually, one more point that rises in our mind. So, for predicate, function, and a consumer, we have already discussed about a by predicate, by function, and a by consumer. Don't we have a by supplier here? The reason out over here why supplier is not having a by supplier is, the significance of a by is it's going to take two input arguments. Whenever it is taking a single input argument, using a by we are converting into a two different arguments. That's the reason we are adding a by predicate, by function, and a by consumer. Whereas moving on to the supplier, we are not at all passing any input data for that. Directly we are passing a return type. Hence there is a no point of a by supplier here. Okay, cool. So these are the various kinds of a predefined functional interfaces. And in this session, we discussed more about this supplier. Cool. That's all I have. See you again in the next session. Bye-bye.